Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. In this video, I'll be talking about the content marketing internship at Deep Thought. What's the kind of candidates we're looking for and what this internship would be all about. I think in the 21st century, the role of a content marketer has become increasingly important as brands are talking of engaging audiences through content, and there's a huge digital explosion, right, of so many brands which are coming in every day, and consumers have too many choices. So there's been an evolution of marketing from marketing 1.0, which was purely about giving information to customers, and customers would buy you based on information, because back then customers didn't have access to information because there was no internet at that point. So from 1.0, marketing moved to a 2.0, which is about emotional selling. It's the Steve Jobs era, because then the customer got access to the internet. The customer would be able to see information of various sources. And so brands started using emotion, started emotionally persuading people to buy. And now we're moving into marketing 3.0, where there are lots of brands which are trying to emotionally persuade people. So the consumer is pretty concerned. The consumer is concerned that people are going to, influence me, and I'll probably get cheated. I'll probably make a wrong move. So that fear of making a wrong move is probably paralyzing the consumer in a few places to not buy. So I think now we're moving into marketing 3.0, which Philip Kotler, I think, described at least 10, 15 years back, which is more about selling to the human spirit, selling to the value system that the consumer has, right? To help the consumer understand what is a value system that we as an organization have, and how, once the consumer understands that, hey, this company is talking about the values that I care for, this consumer, this company has a vision of making the world a better place to live in, and my idea of making the world a better place to live in is matching with this company's vision. And so there's a certain brand equity that you sort of get out of this position, right? Like maybe there are competitors who are offering a product at a lower price, but still the customer would probably be loyal to you because the customer sees that, hey, you stand by these values. So now when you want to build such a brand, and when you want to differentiate yourself from other companies, I think content marketing becomes extremely important. And content marketing is generally youngsters in colleges doing, say, English literature or any other courses. Youngsters believe that content marketing is about writing cheesy words, or probably about poetry or literature and so on. But content marketing is far away from that. Content marketing is a lot more about understanding how your audience think, getting into the mind of your audience, and being able to write things which they relate with, Because if you look at your Swiggy or Zomato, they write very persuasive lines which make you buy. Think about it today. When was the last time a brand made you buy something and later you realize, oh my God, I didn't even need this, right? That you bought something and later realized I didn't even need this. So that's basically where content marketing is going today, that you're able to engage people through meaningful content, build relationships through that, and create that urgency through that content at a later stage. So the kind of candidates we're looking for are those who are open to learning. Because one thing we see among people who come for content writing internships, typically from platforms, when we see is people who are looking for a part-time job, who are looking for a hobby. No, this is a lot more serious job. This is not one of those casual content internships out there. And B, there are individuals who like, I'm running my college Instagram page. I know social media. I want to be a part of an internship where I can improve the social media handles. Well, I'm very happy for you if you're already doing something on the social media front. And to be honest, I think you guys, Gen Z, understand social media a little better. So happy for you there. But then I think what Deep Thought is doing is a lot more nuanced. And we look for somebody who has that openness to learn. For example, just yesterday, we were screening one particular candidate. And the challenge she had was she was just not able to understand what the organization does. Now, if you ask me, why is it that some people have a difficulty in understanding nuance? It is because people are preoccupied with certain thoughts in their mind. And this role at Deep Thought requires somebody who can understand the psychological first principles, what they are, I'll tell you in a while, and also to understand business concepts, right? Because when you can understand the business context of something, you can understand that particular process a lot easily because you know why the company is doing what it's doing and why the customer is paying whatever he or she is paying. So now, when we say openness to learning fundamentals, Deep Thought is a software. Fundamentally, why are we, hiring you to promote our B2C courses, right? So we have some courses that we offer to students who are in their first year of college who want to become software developers or product managers or data scientists. We offer some courses to them. Our courses are different from the other courses in the market because we make students build projects and they learn by building projects. And these projects are different from the projects which most training institutes in India are doing because these are projects around innovation where students pick a problem statement of their own and they go through our framework and build a completely new solution. In a simple way, if I have to describe it, we're nurturing the Baba Ranchod Das, right? So when we're nurturing the Baba Ranchod Das of the world, I think it's about giving the frameworks that is required, that you have an intent in your head, there's a full-on emotion that I want to do this, but then how do I help the individual in going and implementing those ideas? So that's where frameworks are needed. So we have some frameworks which are loosely inspired by design thinking, an 8-step mechanism that the students follow to take their idea towards execution, and they learn the technologies to be able to implement it. So this is like nurturing Silicon Valley great talent in India. And I think Silicon Valley great talent is important in India because you're seeing a lot of innovation companies coming up in India right now. Once upon a time, India was just serving the West. We were just giving services to innovative American companies and we were following their command. Now India is like, okay, we've done enough of services. Now even we want to innovate, and there's some interesting technology companies coming up in India. But unfortunately, our schools and colleges are not geared with the education that is required to imbibe the innovation mindset. To give a simple example, students sort of give up after trying a few times. So, but innovation requires you to do those experiments so that eventually one of those experiments succeeds and uh, you know you're able to get results out of that. So we are nurturing students with psychology, business, as well as technology topics, which is where we're different. But the larger context of this is to solve a problem for today's workspaces. Because today, Deep Thought is not a tech company. I mean, our core business is culture tech, as we call it. Our core business is we build teams for startups and small and medium businesses, and what we do is we bring innovation talent for these startups and we nurture these youngsters on innovation so that they can build creative projects for them. For example, for one of our clients, Unique Biotech, we're doing a market research project where some college students are running some scrapers, gathering critical information, almost acting like the FBI of the company to get the crucial intelligence and give it to the sales team. So that has resulted in increase in sales in the company. So we built that sort of teams, which is full on innovation, where you do things which nobody has done in the world before, first of its kind. So this is the thought process that we bring in. And for us, I think the problem we're solving is most people today do jobs even though they're not interested, even though they're not passionate. For example, one of this bank has got popular for this meme, right? Not naming them, but you go there and people tell you lunch ke baad aana, right? I mean, why is somebody, I mean, especially in most public sector banks, why is it that most people would not want to help you? It's because they're probably not enjoying their job, right? Versus you just go to a small hotel where there's a waiter who's very passionate about his or her job. That person would, feed you really well, would offer you something to eat, would suggest things, would greet you with a smile, would give you recommendations of which sauce to try, how to eat the food, and so on. So the world will be a much better place if people were to do things that they're passionate about. So now connecting the dots to all of what I just spoke, we are offering some courses to students. And in these courses, we're introducing them to psychology and business, shaping some mindsets in them so they can grow as innovators and they can find a strong sense of meaning and purpose in whatever they do. And the background for this is we've been in this business for more than 2 years now, and we've been building teams for different organizations. We've understood what are the traits that are required in people to, be able to find that strong sense of meaning and purpose, things like reflection and so on, which we do on a regular basis to imbibe that interest and strong connection with their work. So we're giving it this kind of education. Now, what's your role? Where do you come in? Because this whole idea is new. There are a lot of things to educate customers on. Imagine the number of things I told you so far, right? So you've got to educate consumers on all these aspects, right? So we're planning to run a lot of content marketing campaigns so that the students understand that if I want to grow as an innovator, what is it that I require? Because today the Indian student is only told, do this, do this, do this, you will get a job, get a CTC. So the Indian education system is geared towards producing more and more silencers, if I have to use the three idiots vocabulary. But all the ranchos out there who are looking for guidance, right? All the ranchos, Baba Ranchod Das across the country who are looking for guidance of what do I do? When in college, all that I hear is tips to become a silencer. What do I do to become a rancho? I think that's the kind of content we're trying to create. And let me just tell you one sample content piece. For example, if you look at it, in 2023, the GDP of California state was 3.23 trillion, while the GDP of India was 3.57 trillion. One of the 50 states in America has a GDP which is almost equal to India. And since 2017, California was consistently number 5 in the world if it was treated as a country in terms of GDP. California beat most countries in the world in terms of GDP consistently since 2017. Why? It is because of innovation. Now, why does innovation lead to so much wealth creation? It's simple. If I'll tell my favorite pani puri story here. Let's say you're going and eating pani puri, and there are 10 people selling the same pani puri. They'll end up operating on 1 rupee margin or 2 rupee margin. They can't have a higher margin because there's so much competition. You can't set a price that you want to set. But let us say you have a unique pani puri, you're adding some unique flavors in it, right? There's a unique taste due to some special spices you're adding in it. People will probably pay 12 rupees for the same pani puri and you're getting a 3 rupees margin. The other fellows are getting 1 rupee margin on 10 rupees, they're getting a 10% margin. While when you're selling this pani puri for 12 rupees, you're getting a 3 rupees margin on 12 rupees, which is a 25% margin. 10% margin versus 25% margin. So when you innovate and discover something unique, which is also valuable, unique and valuable, stress point, unique and valuable. When you get that, your market is willing to pay you a premium, right? So this is why innovation leads to wealth creation. And in California, people do those experiments, right? They're willing to do the 99 experiments which fail to get the 100th recipe which succeeds. And India, what we do is we make a copy of it. That's how rest of the world functions. We are Me Too players or copycats. While few places there's a lot of innovation, and when you do innovation, you get a higher margin, and eventually there's more wealth creation, right? So you get a premium because you're the innovator, because the market is willing to pay a higher price when you're buying a product from the innovator compared to a copycat, because you feel you get the best quality when you're buying from the innovator. So however, if you're that company which is selling that pani puri at 12 rupees, you wouldn't want one of those normal employees, right? Who's scared of taking risks. You would want creative employees who will always try something new. So, and creative people are rare and they have to be nurtured. So that's what Deep Thought is doing here, that we're trying to find those people who are full of ideas, who don't fit into the traditional society. So we have an ecosystem where they fit in, where they can come in, do your own experiments, figure out what works, what doesn't work, and then bring out the new. So Deep Thought is a home for innovators, where innovators get all the encouragement and acceptance for ideas to keep trying ideas until they succeed, right? To fail and fail and fail until you succeed is what Deep Thought is about. So this is one sample content piece where we're telling the story around GDP, and we're telling the story that if you're an innovator, you're not wrong. You're actually the best. Unfortunately, in India, because we come from a subsistent economy, our middle class families don't understand innovation. Our middle class families don't understand economics. In California, I think this economics is understood. And even in India, in certain families which come from business background, where there's, I think, some access to education, the next generation is encouraged to go try something out, because they see that if one of that thing clicks, the value that you can create out of it is massive. So we exist as a company to help all these creative people understand that, hey, you're right. Creativity is highly valued in the age of AI, when all the robotic stuff can be given out to an AI to do. Creativity is super valuable. And if you're trying things, you're good. However, you have to understand how to commercialize the creativity. There's a step-by-step process to do low-cost experiments and go through the life cycle in a step-by-step manner to commercialize the creativity. So we exist as an organization to identify those creative people, make those creative people into commercial level innovators and eventually leaders for organizations is why this company exists. So we'd like to tell a lot of stories like this. So we're trying to hire a content marketing team which will help us tell the stories. And what you'd learn if you're hired for this role, you'd learn various frameworks like the Dale Carnegie 8K framework: attention, interest, desire, conviction, and action, the 5 stages that a customer goes through. You learn frameworks of how you build content, like how do you use hooks in between your content, how do you make a promise to sustain the attention, how do you write call to actions, and how to design the call to action based on the stage of the funnel that you're in. Because if you're at a very early stage of the funnel and you have a very aggressive call to action, right? Let's say you send a message to a person and say, let's connect over a call. The person is like, who are you? Why are you asking me for a call? Rather, at an early stage would be maybe sharing some information and say, do you want to know more? And when they click on know more, probably take them to a website, make them read something on the website. Then once they read a bit, then you probably say, okay, would you want to get more help around this? What question would you want to learn about? Then probably you would say, okay, we have an expert who can talk to you over a call. When would be the best time so that we could discuss this topic that you've picked up? So that way, if you do it in a gradual manner where you barter trust, right? You give some value, get some trust, give some value, get some trust, give some value, get some trust, barter trust. Then at a later stage of the funnel, you will be probably able to talk to them over a call, pitch a product to them, and get them to buy the product. So that's, I think, how we design the call to actions across the funnel. So these are some of the psychology concepts that you'd sort of learn if you're hired for this role. So the selection process is pretty rigorous because, as I mentioned, this internship is not meant for somebody who just wants to spend time constructively, who wants to have a side pursuit. This internship is also not meant for somebody who just wants to do the trendy social media content. It's a lot more serious marketing job where you have a very nuanced concept and you're supposed to deliver that concept to a focused audience over a period of time, and the audience which appreciates it would eventually, buy, right? So this is what this profile is about. So in case you're interested, the link to this selection process is right here in the description of this video. You can just fill up the Google form, which is round 1 Google form. And then in round 2, you'll be asked to answer some questions based on 2 videos on content marketing, where you get to learn some new concepts about content marketing. And once you finish round 2, you'll be invited to a 3-day observation where you get to spend 3 days with Deep Thought, understand what Deep Thought does, understand what this ecosystem. You heard a lot of things from me in this video, right? So get to see that in action once you're invited for observation. And at the end of the 3-day observation, in case we like you, we hire you. So in a way, it's like you're invited to the big boss house where you're there with us for 3 days. We see who you are. If you're really that Baba Ranchod Das who is crazy, who likes to play with ideas. If that's the case, I think we'd really love to work with you. So that's all that I have to tell you. In case you liked what I spoke about and you want to be a part of this ecosystem, so do fill up that Google form. That's your first step. Thank you for listening to me and have a great day ahead.